Hello, Musto0063 back for part 9 of Mega Man 9. No, the title of the video is not wrong. No, I've not uploaded this in the wrong order. I'll explain what's going on a bit later. This is the memory circuit board. We can play back his memory to see why he went crazy. I'll put it on the screen. So, what are you trying to say? I'm saying you're all going to end up in the junkyard. Of course. When we're done with our work, that's what happens. It's not just you. Millions of robots all over the world are winding up as piles of junk. You work hard for humans, and then they destroy you when you're no longer needed. Doesn't that make you angry? Just because you reached some arbitrary expiration date doesn't mean you should be scrapped. You're all still quite useful. You have a right to live. I'm going to help you. Together, we'll show the world how useful you all can still be. Perhaps you're right. We still want to be of use to people. Can you repair us? I'd be glad to. You're in good hands with me. It was Wily all along. Yes, well, they didn't even really try to tease us or put us off or anything like that. With the first cutscene, they suggested it was Wily who was behind everything, and lo and behold, he is. And this would be about the time that I was going to tackle the Wily Fortress, but yeah, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently, and I'm going to be showing off some extras first. So the first of those is in the special game section, and we've got Hero Mode, Superhero Mode and Proto Man Mode. I'm not going to be showing off Hero and Superhero Mode, they are effectively just tougher versions of the original game that you play as Mega Man, so just more enemies littered around the place, you take more damage, etc. But Proto Man Mode, I would at least like to show off one level, so I've already beaten Galaxy Man, and yeah, let's go take on Jewel Man as Proto Man. Gotta love that whistle. And here's me demonstrating a few things about Proto Man. So he can he can charge up the Buster. He can also slide. And one other nice little thing he has, when I'm not messing it up, is his shield. So he can reflect small pellets back into enemies and actually destroy them. So that's a kind of a nice touch. And when you play as Proto Man, it's a sort of a trade-off, I guess. So you have the charge shots, you have the slide, you have the shield that can sort of reflect projectiles back. But you're playing as Proto Man. He takes more damage than Mega Man, so as I say, it's a trade-off. And all things equal, since I don't tend to use charge shots much during my normal playstyle, and I'd rather not take more damage, I'd probably much rather play as Mega Man. The slide is a nice feature, don't get me wrong, but the ability to sort of shoot mini projectiles back at enemies, don't tend to use it very often. It's very situational. Part of the reason why I chose Jewel Man stage, actually, given that I knew there would be some mechs, so I'd be able to show that off. But yeah, it's not like you're going to be able to reflect some of the shots from cannons or run into the big jumping enemies and do anything. So yeah, all things equal, I would still rather play as Mega Man. But it's a nice little extra mode there for those who want to play as Proto Man. Another reason why I chose Jewel was also, well, having beaten Galaxy, was also wanted to show off that the Robot Master weapons, thanks Mr. Spider, wonderful demonstration there. Yeah, the Robot Master weapons are all the same. Hold that thought for a moment. So I show off the fact that we have also Proto Jet and the Proto Coil right from the get-go. I'll come back to that in a moment. But yeah, the Robot Master weapons, it's not, for instance, like Zero in Mega Man X4 or some of the other X series games where you can play as Zero, that you get sort of a different ability from collecting or beating a Robot Master. No, it's exactly the same. And as I say, well, I'll show that off when I fight a Jewel Man at the end of the stage. Yeah, the other things I want to say about Proto Man was, in case you sort of like missing out by perhaps only showing off one level, is that there is no story to this game. So yeah, you're not missing out on anything. There is no cutscene after you beat one Robot Master where they basically sort of discuss that Wily's probably behind things, that you see Dr. Light behind bars. There's no cutscene after beating 4 Robot Masters where they start discussing expiration dates. After 5 cutscenes where you get Rush Jet. And after 8 cutscenes where we had that little, well, the cutscene was shown off there where Wily's sort of shown to be behind it all. And also at the end of the game there is literally nothing. You beat the final boss and there's no cutscene, no explanation or anything. It literally goes straight to the end credits. So yeah, you're not missing out on anything in that regard. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all I want to say on Proto Man. The last sort of remaining moments before we get to the Road Master, just to quickly address why I'm doing this video first. I kind of thought about it, and obviously after beating the 8 Road Master stages, I've got all this extra material that I wanted to show off. I've obviously got the, now we know it's the Wily Fortress to go through, but I just kind of thought, you know, with the end of the game, what I usually do is sort of, over the end credits and such, is, you know, have a discussion about the game in general, just go through what I liked, what I disliked, if anything, and, you know, where it sort of stands in you know, compared to other Mega Man games, and also do my sort of revisit, you know, the difficulty analysis and such like that. And I thought that would just be so much better placed, you know, on completion of the main game rather than just sort of, you know, after showing off, you know, these sort of extra stuff, you know, this extra stuff. So yeah, I kind of decided, well, you know, it's a little bit out of order, but yeah, I'll do the extra stuff before I tackle the Wily Fortress and complete the game proper. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it in this order. As I say, this brings us to Dual Man, and yeah, like I said, you get the same sort of coloration as Mega Man, and the weapon works exactly the same way as I already said. So yeah, we'll just wreck Dual Man with the Black Hole Bomb, and yeah, that is the stage done. Also get a slightly different weapon get kind of thing, or at least on the weapon select screen. I really like the pose that's coming up here for Proto Man. He's sort of just, you know, he's got his kind of back to you, which you'll see now. I really like that sort of start. So yeah, that's kind of nice to kind of see that. But yeah, that's Proto Man. As I say, he's a nice little extra mode. All things equal, I'd still rather sort of play as Mega Man. But yeah, I'm sure there were lots of you who want to play as Proto Man. So it's a nice little extra for those of you who want to. So the second thing I wanted to show off was Endless Attack Mode. I won't read out all the rules, but effectively it is a survive for as long as you can mode. You only have 1 life, and you basically just need to get through as many screens as you can be bothered to do without getting ridiculously bored. So yeah, you start off teleporting into a red door, and you need to find a blue door to exit a particular sort of set of screens. They tend to be around 5 to 7 per set, and then you'll see a complete change and shift in the themes and whatnot. Well, the themes tend to be based upon, you know, Robot Masters from Mega Man 9, so we'll see a lot of underwater areas in this run, which are of course heavily based off of Splash Woman's stage. We'll see some throwbacks to other Mega Man stages and set pieces from earlier games, so that'll be a nice touch. And yeah, as I clear the first screen, we'll just speed the footage up now, because I'm not going to make you watch me do the entirety of this. Don't worry, it still doesn't go on that long anyway. But yeah, pretty much said probably all I need to on that. After every 30 screens or so, you do get a boss battle, so you'll get sort of one of the 8 Robot Masters, and you'll continue to do that every sort of 30 odd screens or so. When you go through, it's important to say here that of course those of you familiar with Mega Man 2 will of course recognise the infamous reappearing disappearing block section from Heatman stage. Oh joy, that one. Yep, they put it in the endless attack stage of Mega Man 9. Joy upon joy. And we're also going to get a callback, not this after this transition, but after the next one, I think, to Wily Stage 1 from Mega Man 1. So, yeah, slightly different, but slightly different enemies and such. But, yeah, very, very familiar to those of you who played Mega Man 1. What else do I want to say? Oh, yeah, after you sort of go through all the bosses once, so if you get that far, you know, for about 250 screens or so, then again after another 30 screens, then the bosses will sort of loop round again. I do believe that you take more damage from the second time round, so yeah, there is that sort of added bonus or added extra difficulty to it. So yeah, that's pretty much Endless Attack Mode. Before I get to the end, there was one thing that I forgot to mention earlier while going through Proto Man stage. Not specifically on Proto Man, but oh well. And it was to do with the cutscene there, where Wily was talking to all the Robot Masters. I think there's a really nice touch there, where, if you go back and look at that screen, there are 7 Robot Masters on screen, but no Plug Man. And the reason for that is we got the circuit board from him. He was the last Roadmaster I beat, and we are seeing that scene from Plugman's perspective. So whichever Roadmaster you beat last, or the 8th one, that Roadmaster will not be present in that cutscene. I think that's a really, really nice touch. They could have just made a generic one where all 8 Roadmasters are there, but no, I think the care and attention that went into that is something that should be applauded. So, bravo. And I've slowed down the footage here because, yeah, we're nearing the end, as I say. This is nowhere near a best attempt or anything like that. I don't tend to play this mode very often. I sort of probably had one go very early on where I put a lot of focus into things, but yeah, I have to confess this is not a mode that I tend to play an awful lot, and as I say, 110 screens is not especially good, and it's way, way off my best. And last but by no means least is the special stage, which you access through the time attack stage select. And yeah, you can clearly see there Wily Castle 1 to 4, so that is at least why I wanted to show off the cutscene before showing off all the extras. I imagine it would have come as a huge spoiler to most of you, or indeed any of you, that Wily was behind everything, but yeah. Just in case it was, I thought I would not spoil it by the way of just something that happens to appear on a menu. So yeah, that's why the cutscene came first for all the extras. And this is Fake Man stage, so he is the police officer robot that Dr. Wily has presumably built that imprisoned Dr. Light that we saw in a cutscene. We'll get to see a little bit more of that kind of play out as we go through the Wily Fortress next time around, but yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here. I'm certainly not trying to speed run this, although it is in the time attack section. I think my best time is about 3.5 minutes. This run takes me just shy of 5 minutes, so yeah, I certainly wasn't going for a speed run. If I was, for instance, this first screen, I probably would have rush jetted over the entire thing. But yeah, anyway, we'll get to see a little bit more Robot Master use than I would ordinarily employ. But you know, a lot of the time, like there, where I'm shooting through barriers with the concrete shot, yeah, a lot of the time it's going to be needed. So yeah, some extra Robot Master use for you that we probably haven't seen too much of so far. So yeah, I'll talk about more about the stage from now on. So. Yeah, it is a one-hit sort of, one life kind of deal. So yeah, if you die, then you pretty much will get set back, or you will have to restart. So you don't have any lives in this section. I don't believe you can collect energy tanks and such like that. So yeah, it's basically just a little bit like the endless stage mode in that respect. You've got one life to get through the stage, and oh look, mid-boss time. And, well, wouldn't you know it, we've got the bloody plant from Hornet Man stage. Yay. Of all the mid-bosses that I wanted to see, you be the one I wanted to see the least. But, yeah. Unfortunately, well, I say the other's not too bad, but yeah, that's not going to be the only mid-boss we see. But we'll get to see some of the different strategies for the other ones. So this is Stonehead from Jules Man stage, and yeah, Hornet Chaser, the rocks up there, and then Plug Ball the hell out of him, and it takes him out rather nicely. So that is 2 of the mid-bosses. Here's the third. It's one of the elephants from Concrete stage, and it's the one with the green bouncing ball. So yeah, the elephant's really not too much to worry about. Yikes, Galaxy Man attack, or at least the spaceship attack, and yeah, wow. In about 7 or 8 screens, we have all 4 mid-bosses. So the last one, of course, being the Magma Dragon from Magma Man stage. So yeah, Black Hole Bomb does a pretty good job of taking that out. Tornado Blow also does a pretty good job, but yeah, the Black Hole Bomb also does a pretty nice job. So yeah, not too many hits, and it takes it out rather nicely. Now we get to see the Dual Satellite just in its absolute majestic best, where it pretty much just creams all minor enemies. Yeah, Dual Satellite is incredibly broken. And yeah, we get to see it, particularly on this screen. I love the fact that it can reflect pellets. Do be a little bit careful not to run directly into enemies too much, or you will get damaged. But yeah, Dual Satellite's freaking awesome. And I'm actually going to speed the footage up here and you'll see a little bit of a spoiler, unfortunately, for one of the bosses in the Wily Fortress. So yeah, I'm not going to sort of talk about it too much now. You can obviously see it on the screen. It is what it is there. But yeah, I'll obviously get to talk about this. I'll obviously talk about this much more when we actually fight it for real during the Wily Fortress. As we approach the final 2 screens of the level, I'm going to employ a Tornado Blow here just to get rid of all the enemies on screen really nicely. Yeah, on the final screen, I sort of got caught out by the fact, I don't know what I was thinking. I knew that there weren't any extra lives, but I sort of got caught by that fake extra life. But the tornado blow does a fantastic job there actually, because I wouldn't be able to make either of those jumps normally, of giving Mega Man a bit of extra height. And it also lasted quite a bit of time, so I wouldn't be able to make either of those jumps normally with Mega Man's normal jump height. But yeah, tornado blow and actually enabled me to make both of them. So yeah, wonderful extra use for Tornado Man's weapon. Here is Fake Man, and I'm not really going to bother trying to describe the pellet shot pattern that he does here. Suffice to say, this is a bit of a hectic fight, but I really do enjoy it. He absolutely kicked my arse, by the way, the first few times I fought him, while I was sort of getting the hang of him. But so once you get the hang of the pattern, it's really quite a fun fight. If you are struggling, then Dual Satellite is his main weakness. It does a really good job of taking out. Not only does it reflect all the pellet shots that he fires, but yeah, it just eliminates a lot of the danger. But yeah, I thought this was actually a really kind of a nice fight at the end of the day. And I say once you get the pattern for how he and it does loop. Once you get the idea of how he works, it's a pretty fun fight. And yeah, that is all the extras I wanted to show off. Sorry it's a little bit out of order, but yeah, I wanted to sort of finish on the climax of beating the game and going through my usual rigmarole, you know, at the end of the game rather than sort of arbitrarily after the extras. So yeah, see you next time for the finale of Mega Man 9. Cheerio.